there isn't anything that I can, any sort of analysis I can give other than the fact that it's just a dumb and shit decision. Like, it's the first time I can recall in my life a penalty being given for something like that. Like,
It's Arsenal, baby. We
like,
the
I don't know.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Shirtless Plantain Show, the Arsenal edition. This is your host, Dean, and I am here with Gabby. What's going on, Gabby? Looking really warm.
If I had a black one, I would put it on for our funeral, but
You ain't got that Lynx Africa kit? Oh, well. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing well. It's been a good Saturday outside of the football, so yeah.
Yeah, that's the spirit. We are reporting live a few minutes after Brighton won, Arsenal won. Obviously, this is not the result any of us wanted. However, and no one wants to hear this at this point in the season, per usual this season, mitigating circumstances. I just think we've reached a point in the season where the basic conclusion is you cannot outplay bad luck. At some point, it's going to catch up to you. And it feels as if today was a microcosm of the season as a whole. The only good thing is that, as far as we know at the moment, no one has picked up another injury from this game. So let's count our blessings. But that said, I follow Clive from the Arsenal Vision Arsenal Vision podcast on Twitter, and before the game, probably like an hour before the game, he said that this game had Bournemouth away vibes. And I think that's because he saw the lineup and saw the news surrounding the squad. And we just do the lineup like we always do. It was Raya, 5, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori, Rice, Jorginho, Merino, Nwaneri, Jesus, and Trossard. No Odegaard, no Havertz, who was supposed to be back. Timber suspended. Saka, we all know what's happened there.
Yeah.
Gabby, what was the mood? Were you more on the Clive side of things, or were you still optimistic? Because I know for all of us, we all demand that, given the opportunity that exists this season with City being in the dumps, we just got to get it done. But did your feelings change when you saw that lineup?
I don't know. I can't say it changed because I already wasn't feeling comfortable going into this game at all.
She never.
I know. Never, but we always do bullshit against Brighton. I know we win sometimes, but the games are always cagey. I don't think I remember a Brighton game where we were like straight up comfortable. We were always cagey against Brighton, especially when we play at the Amex. Always nonsense going on. Even when we won the 4-2, I think a couple while back. And I saw the squad as a whole, not just the lineup. I was like, Kai is not even on the bench, and I was like, I would have killed myself. But we're also just looking really light. Like Odegaard was back on the bench, but he was maybe our only attacker next to
Martinelli,
Butler. And he's an academy player. Like it's just it was not looking good.
Yeah, it wasn't. The bench was Neto, Zinchenko, Tierney, Kivior, Lewis Skelly, Odegaard, Martinelli, Butler, Yodeji, and Kavia. So I saw that, and in my mind, Coach, I figured we needed to get the job done with the starting lineup. And I feel like that. I'm sure Mikel was thinking the same. How do you think we approach that task, starting at the beginning of the game?
I think we just had to essentially equip ourselves and play to what we had available in terms of their strengths. That midfield, there wasn't a perfectly weighted reverse through pass between them, unfortunately. This
pain ass nigga. We gonna beef so hard today. Let's go, baby.
Like it was just really industrious and nothing wrong with that if that's the style of play you want to play. But Arteta doesn't want to play that style of football. It's just what he has available. It's just literally what he has available, and that's what sucks. But having said that, I still feel like there should have been enough in attack in the actual 3 attacking players that started. But then Trossard fooled me again. It was just really, really frustrating just seeing that. Had things been a little bit more balanced in our favor in terms of some luck, in terms of Odegaard being able to train and shit, we probably have a much better start to the game and performance in general kind of thing. So
Yeah.
You know he has to show solidarity with his bestie. They do everything together.
Yeah.
Hot chick together.
Nasty ass niggas sharing wives and shit. Look at us now. Like, see, this whole ethical non-monogamy shit that I be seeing on the app, y'all need to cut this shit out because it's costing my team a title. Okay, I'm not feeling this shit. Gabby, what did you make of the fact that I feel like we've been back to Brighton a couple times since Leandro Trossard joined Arsenal, and this is the first time I really remember them really getting on his ass. I mean, I'm sure there've been scattered boos in the past, but this was the whole 90 they were on his ass. I'm like,
the whole
he
90
beefed with De Zerbi. That nigga beefed with the club and left for a different club already, and y'all still back in the beef that don't exist. What's going on, man?
The whole thing the whole thing was funny to me. I can't lie. Because you would think, don't they have a beef with Crystal Palace? He also gets booed by them, and you would think somebody who hates Crystal Palace the way that he does, like, they at least like him a little bit, but nah. I think it's when he scored that last goal against Brighton and put it out his arms. Yeah.
I guess.
They said, nah. Yeah. The love is gone.
They're in their feelings. Coach, let's talk a little. I know he's not where we're usually supposed to start, but Trossard started in this game, which felt like one of Mikel's vibesy emotional picks. Like, well, he used to play there.
No, he ruined the vibes. You have to know the rules about Trossard. Trossard, if he's going to play against Brighton, he has to come off the bench. Then he scored. He can't start.
And that was my issue. But I know I don't want to have to talk about Martinelli already. But he started because Martinelli just, he needed to preserve Martinelli.
Fucking dead. He's tired.
Yeah, he needs to preserve Martinelli, and him starting in general, like, is just. I prefer Trossard starting at home if we're going to start and then away from home. Genuinely, like, if we're going to start Trossard, start him at home. It's a much safer bet. Away from home, it's just not the case. I'm not feeling it. I mean, if you can, let's be honest. Let's think of like some of the best Trossard games away from home where he started. Fulham away 22-23.
Hat-trick of assists, yes.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't particularly amazing against United last season away, but he scored. And the reason I'm mentioning games where he's got end product because that's what Trossard is. Like, I don't look for performance from Trossard in general. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, what else was there? He came off the bench against Brighton, but we were 2-0 up by then already last season. Like, there isn't much to go with when he starts away from home. Whereas at home it's a different story. We can actually pick from plethora of performances. So yeah, not happy with it, but there's nothing we can do. Like, Martinelli is out on his feet at this point. So
fingers. Let's get in some individual performances, and we'll start at the obvious starting point here. Before we all ended up in this mood that we're in at the moment, we probably had the brightest jolt of happiness as a fan base that we've had this season when Ethan broke in behind Brighton's defense, put his head down. We all knew he wasn't passing that shit.
Yep.
And he slid it right under Verbruggen. Great finish.
Shoot.
Yeah. The build up to the goal was fantastic. I can't remember why Stupinan was so far up the pitch, but there was spacing behind him. There's a bit of combination play between Rice and Merino. The release Nwaneri in behind, and he finishes the goal. Gabby, just walk us through your feelings during that moment, because I know how I felt.
How proud was I?
There you go. Pride.
I know he scored a Premier League goal before, yes. But it felt like his first almost. I don't know how to describe that, but it felt like I was watching it for the first time. And I was just like, this is what joy feels like. I was worried about him when he started the game because we haven't seen him that much on the wing, especially with like a ravaged squad like we have right now. Normally Arteta is very careful about playing teenagers, specifically Ethan, when he doesn't have like veterans around him. And like our first starting 11, not this makeshift midfield stuff. But I was like, hey, if there's ever a time for you to stand up and be counted, now's the time. And he definitely did. It was really good interplay between Rice and Merino. He played a really good ball. It wasn't really over the top, but through the lines for him to run into the box. I'm glad he didn't pass. Because sometimes I want our players to be unselfish and just shoot more. Granted, I do think the goalkeeper should have done better there, but fuck him. So
exactly that. Fuck him. Coach, you can definitely talk more about the goal if you feel like it, but I would like you to focus more on Ethan's general performance and that one-on-one duel between him and Estupinan, who is, I know he had this big injury maybe a season or two ago, and he kind of fell off his original level where we all noticed him. But at one point, Estupinan was arguably top 2-3 left back in the league.
Yeah, in terms of going forward, for sure, I think he was just a bundle of energy and just really powerful run and shit like that. But I feel like these sort of matchups are gonna. I know it's painful right now, but these sort of matchups for Nwaneri are just gonna help turn him into something that we've probably never seen before. So I think it's good that he's come up against all of these thugs so early in his career, basically. So it was a good battle for Nwaneri in terms of his development, but I don't think he won that one. Partly to do with the fact that Anthony Taylor allowed a lot of monstering that was just illegal monstering, if you like. But also some of his decision making, he didn't go on the outside as much as he should have today, at all.
I agree.
He went on the outside like once, I want to say.
I get the sense that he probably didn't think he could take Estupinan for pace. I mean, I think really this was one of the moments where you see that, okay, as good as he is, he's 17.
Yeah.
The body isn't quite there yet. I think last week he looked at Keane Lewis Potter and was like, But this week, he's seen a nigga across from me like, damn it, Uncle now, Uncle chill now. Uncle was kicking the shit out of him.
I mean, I was going to say, and he also had like 5 behind him who's like a makeshift right back. So like he wasn't overlapping.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Like, all these little things, just so much fucking luck, man. It gets my nerves, man. But like all of those things were, I suppose contributing to what we saw. But in regards to how he actually played, the goal itself, I feel like we could have recreated that sort of situation a few more times where just forget taking him on, just make him run back towards his own goal. Even if you're not getting the ball, just make him keep doing that over and over again, and the concentration will slip at some point. He's not going to be perfect every single time, kind of thing. Just make him think about it a bit more, and we go from there. And the goal itself was just, I think there's something really interesting about when players take a heavy touch, because that heavy touch, on purpose, that heavy touch normally signifies that they've made their mind up, basically. And I just saw it coming. Like once he got at his feet, usually it's like you drive into the box kind of thing. You drive it at an angle where you're like, okay, I can pass or shoot kind of thing. But the angle you drove at was like, I can only shoot. I can only shoot. So, and that was really pleasing. The confidence. Go on.
It was just very Carmelo Anthony. It was just, the possession ends here.
Fuck out of here, I got it.
Fuck out of here, I got it. Exactly.
Oh my god.
That was really pleasing. I'm really happy, man. And I've set a target now. He's on 5 goals already. Let's get 5 more before the end of the season. Like, let's see where it goes. So,
I think that's light work for him, but we'll see. Gabby, during Coach's very well thought out response to the last question, he mentioned that ball in behind and how Ethan's mode of success today probably would have been running in behind rather than, facing Estupinan up. And the source of that ball in behind, to my recollection, even though it wasn't on the goal, was your boy Jorginho.
It was Marino.
Yeah, I know Marino. The goal was Marino, but generally in the game, there was actually a moment where Jorginho tried to play the kid in behind, but he didn't make the run. And he was like remonstrating with him, like, that's how you're going to beat this dude.
Like, did you see that celebration after he scored the goal? Jorginho said, fuck all that celebrating. You need to do this. Do this. Run in behind. I know Ethan wasn't paying attention to nothing he was saying.
None of that, man. He was having the best moment of his life. That said, Gabby, I want to say Jorginho telling people what to do is the bare minimum we expect from him. We know that's guaranteed. But I think he kind of struggled in his appearance today. What do you make of it?
He did struggle today. Brighton used him as a pressing trigger today, which I already knew he would be, but he also didn't have really runners around him. I mean, he had Declan Rice, who's obviously a runner, but Marino was also next to him, who was also kind of immobile. And I feel like there's just... Georgie tends to be smart because he knows his body will let him down. I'll say that nicely. He knows his body will let him down. He tends to be smart, and I think he puts himself in position so he can cover the ball like Granite used to do. Cover the ball so he can get the foul. But he just wasn't getting the foul. I think a lot of time, in a lot of these moments, he was fouled, and it just said, play on. Fuck that. Like, get up. And then there's some other moments where he just had, like, the ball not out of his feet fast enough. Either didn't make the decision fast enough, or somebody put him in a bad position and shouldn't have given him the ball in positions he was in, which I see on a few times today. And I was just like, they're using him as a pressing trigger. I need you guys to move around him so you can make yourself available for the ball while they think that he's going to get it. I don't think there was enough movement around him. Like, there was a lot of, let's give it back to the center backs and see what we can do, which I hate, because then a lot of times we would give it back to Raya and he would lump it all the way forward. And Kai is not up there. We have Jesus up there. He's not going to out jump any of those center backs. And then we'd lose it, and then it'd come back down our throats. So it was putting us under pressure a lot, but it wasn't helped because his performance was bad, and the makeshift midfield around him wasn't helping him that much.
Yeah, that's fair. That's not to dig anyone out, because again, given the conditions, it's very difficult to single any one player out for a bad performance. He might have been ill
as well.
yeah. For all you know, I mean, they said the bug went around the camp.
Listen.
I mean, there were people out there last week who were ill, but the manager didn't disclose who they were. You know, like, clearly one of them was Odegaard, and clearly he was even worse today, because he didn't even get on the pitch to start the game. Another high-level performer from the first half, Coach, and Gabby, I want your take on this when Coach is done, was Ricardo Calafiori. I think he looked a little less rusty than he did in his last appearance, which was...
California.
Damn, I actually said his name. Wow. See, I'm mad depressed right now. If we'd won, I would have had a new nickname on Tuck. Oh, well, maybe next week.
You can save Tarzan for next week.
Yeah, there you go. So what did you make of Tarzan's performance in this game? Did he... I almost feel as if he played within himself a little bit, but he was clearly sharper than he was last week.
Yeah, I think more than anything, I know how good... Do you know, I didn't finish it. I watched some of his interview, right? And I've said it, I think I've tweeted it, I've told you, Bastoni is where he needs to be looking at for his game, like for his final form, if you like, and he might end up being even better because I think he's more mobile than him. But he mentioned in his interview that Bastoni, he said, look, Bastoni's is better than me, basically. He might have said on the ball as well, I don't know, but the performance today lets me know that I have no issues with him on the ball at all. Like, when he gets the ball, he helps our build up so much, and he's just really technical, and it's fine, kind of thing. But the actual art of defending, for me to say he's about Italian, lets me know that he's got a long way to go still. The actual art of defending, I feel like he can go up so many levels, kind of thing. And today was a step in the right direction because it was no frills. It was very much, I'm an Italian, I'm going to play like one today, kind of thing. And I think he just needs to continue to do that because, again, looking at his example, Bastoni, all the stuff that he does creatively for Inter, kind of thing, it's underpinned by just how much they can rely on him defensively, kind of thing. And once we get that, imagine, I just put it like this, I just imagine a defense for us where either one of our fullbacks are inverted, kind of thing, but let's just say we were to go over a back three of Saliba, Gabriel, and Calafiori. It's fucking mental. Like, off the ball, kind of, think about what all of that gives you when we're defending, and then think about what all of that gives you when we're not defending. It's actually blowing my mind, and I feel like he just needs to keep, a little bit like Arteta, keep adding the bricks. Like, let's stay fit now, for the rest of the season, and just solid today. Like, I don't remember him. I don't remember who his winger was today. He was untroubled, pretty much. So, yeah.
Well said. Gabby, if there's any meat left on the bone, because I know Calafiori is your boy. You're going to get mad at me if you don't get going on him.
That is my boy.
He is your boy, but I mean, Coach obviously mentioned that he had a good performance. I think we all agree on that. But there's still room for improvement. What did you see today that you think needs to get better?
Damn, I couldn't even give him the praise. Yeah,
you can do whatever you want.
I will say, I think was it Dinger on his side or was it Dinger on the other side?
I don't even remember, man.
I thought he was on him, but I might be wrong. I thought he was really good in the things that he's the best at, like the nipping in for the interceptions, the marauding forward and getting the ball to who you need to get the ball to, trying to get involved in the attack without getting too far forward. He was good at all of that. I think I would give him genuine, like maybe an 8.5 or a 9 in that first half. And then he had like a little dip in the second half where they had, after the team talk, he has a moment where he comes too far forward, like we know he can do. And then they scoop him behind him, and you know he can't get back.
Yeah, the winger had fresh legs too. It was Minta had come on for his original matchup, so he was, and Calafari is just coming back from injury. So there's that part.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised. I say surprised halfway, because I thought Arteta was going to do like Miles Lewis-Skelly play this game and we don't start Ethan, actually. I thought he was going to do the opposite, because he is not going to do them both on the field at the same time because he hates joy. And I was like, okay, Calafari is starting. I'm not that worried about around him, because I'm like, he has some help in the midfield maybe, but like that first half got me more settled than I thought I was going to be. I was like, oh, he got this. Like, he's cool. And then the second half was like, okay, he still got one in him. I didn't score from that specifically, but he still got one in him. I just think that he's genuinely like an untamed like stallion. He just has to he just loves to like fly free and do whatever. And I'm like, just tame it down just a little bit. It just needs to be refined just a little bit. But as you said, he's a young player. He's 21 years old. So like there's plenty of time to like get it together.
That's fair. Let's do the complete, because we did Trossard, we did Kalakuta. So let's do Merino. Merino assisted on the goal. But coach, what did you make of the overall performance as well? Does he look more comfortable than he did in his last performance?
I think there's just an air around him where even if he plays well, people are gonna just be like, he could have done this.
Confirmation bias.
Yeah, he could have done this better, or he could have done that better, blah blah blah, kind of thing. And I feel like his biggest issue right now is just staying fit. Just stay fit, get your rhythm, because he hasn't played a lot of football for us. Like the sample size for us in regards to him isn't big enough for us to make any sort of conclusive decisions. Had he been fit from the start of the season, then we could say, 6 months in, whatever, cool. Like, where we can start making some conclusions. But now it's just like I don't even know what the real role Arteta wants from him, outside the fact that we know it's not going to be touch heavy. Like, we still haven't grasped it because of all the tools that he has. So going into today, it was just, again, keep it steady. And he did, I think he kept it steady, but his legs went, and he might have been sick as well. His legs went, I could literally see him physically struggling to sprint. And considering just how well he is, how well he's endowed physically, in terms of athleticism, that was a worry. So that let me know he was probably sick as well. So,
hey, yo. Gotcha. Yeah, that's fair, coach. I do remember that moment, but I want to acknowledge his professionalism despite the fact that his legs were gone, because he knew he wasn't getting a sub. He knew the manager wasn't going to save him today because ain't nobody on the bench. Even though I do have thoughts about Miles, but we'll get to that a little later.
I as well.
Yeah, but I love that he just fouled the motherfucker. Like when he lost the ball in midfield, he was like, "Let me do the right thing. Let me do the."
I'm glad we're on the same page, because I didn't tweet it, but I thought that as well. I was like, I would rather you just take the tactical. It's actually what I wanted Saliba to do right before we conceded that penalty. When they were running towards our goal, João Pedro, I was like, just take him down and take the foul, get the free kick. Like, I'd rather you do that rather than letting them get into the box, and then we will see what happens, because we're the most unlucky team in this league. Like, with the one shot, one goal, I said, I just feel it. I just knew that something nonsense was going to happen.
Yeah, so it goes. The Brighton crowd, I don't have any particular thoughts about them, because it's like 12 people in that bitch at the Amex. But there was a lot of, it felt like they were really behind their team. And I think that's a credit to, and you keep in mind, they've drawn like their last 4 or 5 games, maybe even 7 games, I think. They've been drawing since November, basically. They haven't lost, but they haven't won. That's what a draw is for those of you who do not speak English. But I suppose that's a credit to the fact that the people in the stands there do believe in the project. So we've had a little over 6 months of Fabian Hürzeler, the youngest manager in the Premier League. I already know how coach feels about him. Gabby, what do you make of this long hairline ass German ass prick?
Fuck that guy. That's all I have to say. I can't wait till he gets out. He gets his ass beat and go back to the Bundesliga, bro. I hate that guy. He's a bitch.
Yeah, mad Brexity. I love it. Is there a follow-up question? Do you think he's from the Eddie Howe school of go kick these niggas as a coach?
Yes, I do. I think he will never say. The question.
Is it more of that, or is it more Anthony Taylor being a dickhead?
That's what I was gonna say. I think that he's both. I think that he wants to play good football, like Bundesliga, like open basketball, go back and forth. But if the referee lets him do that, he won't tell his players not to do it. Like, tell them, just do it.
Yeah, I think Brighton have low key been. I'm not say everyone because they've been around for a while. So when you've been around for a while, people do start hating you. But they've been people sort of like second team for a while on the low. And I want to say this is the first version of Brighton, because there was Chris Hughton, there was Graham Potter, and who else? It was a bunch of niggas. Deserby, now this motherfucker. And I've always seen them as a likable team. But between their visit to the Emirates and what Veltman was doing over there, with the Rice nonsense, he tried to pull that shit again today as well. Yeah. Coach, is this guy really is he like Mourinho coded for real? Is he one of them people?
He's just a cunt, to be honest. Like straight up and down. Like that's all there is to it. Like you can clearly see like he's trying to get above his station, by being a little bit off the wall and shit like that. But end of the day, like you're coaching Brighton, it's your first big job kind of thing, and this is what Brighton do. Brighton look for the next big thing. If it doesn't work, if it doesn't work out, they'll fuck you off and get somebody else kind of thing. So he needs to worry about
soon.
Yeah, exactly. He needs to worry about actually making sure he can actually, find success with this team the way the previous managers have kind of thing, rather than trying to build his own actual reputation, if you like, in a way that maybe, I don't know, Russell Martin was doing as well. But yeah, in terms of what he's telling these players, we saw from the Emirates game that it's clearly mandated that he wants his players to kick the shit out of us. And to other teams, not even just us, but like to other teams as well, kind of thing. That is very, very, very clear. They beat City and they beat City like fairly and whatever else, but they were kicking the shit out of City as well.
Yeah, the label came on at fucking halftime, and it looked like Kane versus Rey Mysterio out there, man. Yeah, it was crazy.
And it's just one of those things. It's a margins thing, It's like if you can get a margin here, like some of the tackles on Martinelli didn't make sense. You're never getting the ball, and you're just literally kicking down the back of him, running in like shit. It doesn't make any sense.
Why the referee he chooses to let his team do that? Because he knows he won't get a yellow card.
Exactly.
If you give the yellow card, they will not do that. But because you let them get away with it,
the head of that Declan Rice run, what Estupiñán done was pretty much assault. Like you don't go in with that force at all, especially when the player's blindsided.
Right. So it's clearly unprofessional. Like you can't foul your fellow professionals like that. But if the PGMOL will let you get away with it, which they will, I mean, keep in mind, João Pedro probably shouldn't have started this game because he swung that elbow at the Brentford player in the last game, and VAR took a look at it and they were like, "Oh, that's perfectly fine." Personally, I wasn't mad at the decision at the time, but now I regret it.
Listen, even the broadcast team was like, "Look at this thing that Jorginho did, the little kick out." I said, "Yeah, show that nonsense."
So I just laughed my head off. Like he got literally almost downloaded CTE from Bruno Guimaraes last season. Like,
if I speak about that, Bruno G, I will be in trouble.
Yeah, and that got dismissed like it was crazy people talking. He got elbowed in the head, but again, typically we don't talk about refs when we're winning games, so this is a reflection of the fact that this game did not go that well.
Yeah,
but let's go over to halftime. Ethan came off for Gabby Martinelli. Do we think that was more rotational based, or was it based on the fact that he had a yellow card? Gabby?
I think it was both. I think it was the fact that he got the yellow card, and also we need him for Newcastle.
Apparently, he had an injury. Yeah.
Come on, really? He's a child. Like, children get injured?
This is child labor. Yeah.
This is ridiculous, man. Call CPS, man.
Henry.
Call CPS. We got to put Arteta in jail, man. He broke my son. This is unfortunate. Yeah. Well, Martinelli came on, and what were you expecting, Gabby? Did you think this was going to level the game up?
Sorry.
You can be honest. It's okay.
No, I didn't. No, I did not. I was hoping that Martinelli would at least like put a little. Granted, he probably didn't start because he was sick. I think that's what Arteta was saying. So I was like, he's gonna look a little bit like washed out there, which is what he did. So, unfortunately, I was hoping for more because Georgie was still out there. I was hoping for more balls over the top, which is what like it wasn't him for the Ethan goal, but it was him for the Jesus chance that he gets called offside for, and I was like, maybe Martinelli can come inside and kind of run because Jesus is everywhere. He's left, right, in the midfield, doing whatever. So I was like, if somebody's going to vacate the space, maybe it's Martinelli who runs in behind it. But we didn't do any of that. And we just looked really rough. Martinelli got on the ball a lot, but nothing ever came of it because we just kept giving the ball away. Like, just sloppiness. Constantly fouled or giving the ball away. And I was just like, we look horrendous. I need to see Miles.
Yeah, it was a terrible performance. We'll get to that in a moment. We'll get to the Miles thing in a moment. Gabby mentioned Gabby Jesus. Man, say that 12 times in a row. Mentioned Gabby Jesus being all over the place, coach. During the game, we kind of talked about how a lot of Arsenal observers have sort of come to the conclusion that, okay, he had all those injuries. He's back and he's found some form. He's scoring goals for the club again, which is good. But we can't really expect him to be the physical monster that he was back when he first joined the club. What do you make of that, coach?
I think the burst isn't the same anymore.
What do you mean by burst?
As in, pretty much
the acceleration.
Go watch any highlight package of Gabby Jesus from the first half of 22-23 season, and look at him this season, and you'll know exactly what I mean. Like, he was able to, pick the ball up after holding off one or two defenders kind of thing, and literally just goes past them like 3 or 4 times a game. Like, that burst that essentially just creates separation between him and the defender kind of thing. He can still do it, but it's not as explosive and it's not as consistent anymore. With that being said, the actual physical side of him, it's all there now. He's put it back together again. Like, he looks as strong and as spiky as he's ever done kind of thing. But that actual explosiveness to get past players and stuff, I don't think it's the same. But he's still a bag of tricks. But yeah. So,
what'd you make of the performance?
Yeah, I'm not gonna say everybody was sick. That's what I'm going with. Yeah, I'm literally there isn't anyone I can say genuinely. There isn't anyone say today, yeah, like, he played quite well and he was let down by his teammates. Like, outside of our defenders, really, like, and the way we play football, those are the guys with like the least sort of physical exertion in terms of like, turning the face, that like doing all these biomechanics and shit, like, they have a very, very sort of not easy, but a very sort of regimented set of moves that they have to play throughout the entire game. And Gabby Jesus, because of the type of player he is, he's like throwing his legs and his hips in every which way direction and shit like that kind of thing. Like, so yeah, he did well, I think, physically against the centre backs, but yeah, the service into the box wasn't there enough, so we couldn't really see him try to continue to with his scoring streak. But he did get a header from a corner. But outside of that, yeah, I'd give him a 6 out of 10, 5.5, 6 out of 10 for that. So.
Fair enough. I can't really argue with that. In the 58th minute, Declan Rice swung a free kick into the box on the ground. It was a really clever routine. And Marino was stretching, I guess. I think he probably should have done better there. I think that was a chance. Matter of fact, when it happened, I thought to myself, bad miss. Was I being harsh, Gabby? Or
yes.
Okay.
Right. I actually do think you're being just a little bit harsh. He probably should have done better, but I still think that, like, it's just I think we're so used to Declan Rice and Bukayo Saka putting in these perfect balls in there that we're like,
Every
you should
chance should be
always
a goal.
score.
Yeah,
Every
yeah.
chance should be a goal. You can't be like that. But I like the variation of set piece.
Yeah.
I'll say that. I wish we would do that more. I was actually thinking when Ethan was on some of the corners, I was hoping that we would do short corners. Somebody come get the ball and you had the overlap and try to get the ball into the box that way. I would love to see a variation of corners that way because I think we're a little bit over reliant, not on corners in general, but on the types of corners we do. Just lumping it on trying to get Big Gabby in the box, like on top of the goalkeeper.
Yeah, but
yeah, I think you're a little bit harsh on Moreno.
fair enough.
Fair enough.
I think with the corners, like I feel like the theme every goalkeeper and defense wants to see least is Arsenal just lumping it and curling it an in-swinger towards your net. I think they don't want to see that, so just keep doing that. Like that said, teams have sort of developed an approach. I don't know how successful I think it is, but I've noticed in the last couple games, people are just straight up following your namesake, Gabby. Like when Gabriel is at the top of the box, getting ready to start his run. By the time they run that playback, you will see that he gets horse-collared or he gets his shirt pulled. And so far, refs are not calling it, Gabby. What do you make of this?
You're allowed to do whatever you want to Arsenal players. So I'm not shocked. I'm not surprised. I'm not even like really pissed off about it because it's just like it is what it is. It's exactly what I expect them to do because that's the only way you can really stop him. Like genuinely, it's the only way you can stop him because if not, he's gonna posterize you. That's Shaq coming down on your head top. I don't know.
So now they're running that hack-a-Shack play. That's crazy.
Like literally just a hack Shaq, I guess.
But at least Shaq got the free throws. Like, can we get some penalties, please? Like, for fuck's sake.
I'm generally shocked. I don't think we won a penalty from a corner this season, and we could have had like 3 or 4 easily.
I agree. I think that on the worst ones, because I think you can give a penalty on any corner. There's a lot of grabbing and grappling in the box, fair enough. But there's some that we like. I think it was a couple games ago. Gabriel got absolutely like wrapped around his waist and pulled down when he got away from his man. That's the stuff that you just can't let go. And I know the referee was looking right at it.
Last week, the lap one from last week as well was just, I don't know what the hell that was.
Yeah, this week was Matt O'Reilly was the one marking him, and he horse-collared him. He basically choked him out, on the first corner run. I remember this very vividly because I think it was the same corner that Gabby Jesus missed the header from that you mentioned, Coach. And Gabriel was about to make that run per usual, and he just got wiped out. And the ref saw it and just ignored it, But so it goes. This is life as an Arsenal fan. Now we sound a little whiny. But yeah, that Merino miss kind of scans as the reason why I was so harsh about it was because in the moment it happened, I thought to myself, we're probably going to pay for that. And it happened 3 minutes later when it was just a mess, really, because it's not as if Brighton constructed a move here. It was just a second ball that dropped and Saliba kind of got in there, but he couldn't quite clear it and the ball bounced around a bit. João Pedro got a moment to, I guess, obtain possession and he flicks the ball up, tries to head it. And in that process, him and Saliba clash heads. First things first, Coach. What was your immediate reaction to that being called a penalty? Anthony Taylor took his time with it, so I'll give him credit for that. But what did you think?
I just think it was bullshit, man. Like, there isn't anything that any sort of analysis I can give other than the fact that it's just a dumb and shit decision. Like, it's the first time I can recall in my life a penalty being given for something like that. Like,
it's Arsenal, baby.
I've been watching football for such a long time, and I wouldn't say I've seen it all because clearly I haven't. No. But it's just I've never seen a penalty given for that ever. Like a clash of heads where in the VAR era you have some technology to see that he's actually headed the ball before he's even collided with my man in the end anyway, and you still give the penalty. Like, at the very least, you call him to the screen. At the very, like, they don't do shit like that. Like, when have we had a decision go against us and have called the referee to the screen and the referee's reversed it? Has that ever happened for Arsenal ever?
Never. It's never. I know for a fact it's never happened because I think about this a lot.
Exactly, and
it's never happened.
And with Anthony Taylor, it was never ever happening. Like, it doesn't even make any sense. So it's such a split second thing as well. It's like, how much do you want to actually ruin the game? That at this point, that's what I'm thinking. How they're trying to see how far they can go, basically, like trying to make a product out of everything. Like we're gonna start seeing hearing and seeing so much from so many more refs in the next coming years, because it's another avenue of revenue for these people. That's all it is at this point. You know, creating personalities out of these guys and shit and whatever else. I wouldn't be surprised if the David Coote shit was part of like, you know, an internal rollout of them trying to, you know, bring more attention to what referees are like outside the game and shit. That's something stupid. Like that's what it is at this point. Honest, that's the only thing I can think of. Seriously.
Like, I'm so mad.
They're fucking wankers.
I know you're being like mildly sarcastic with this shit, but I was listening to that, like it doesn't sound out of the realms of possibilities to me. It really doesn't, because some of this shit doesn't make any sense. Gabby, do you think he would have called the penalty if Saliba also goes down and rolls around like Yao Pedro did?
Yes.
Still?
I do think. You know why? I was when I watched it back, because I've seen a lot of people, granted, rival fans will say whatever. A lot of people say that's a pen. And I was like, I could eat that being a pen if you had seen it given like at all ever before, or in the middle of the pitch you'd have call a foul, but sometimes you don't even call a foul when they do that in the middle of the pitch. So I'm like, it's just a clash of heads. Like, you know, it's just like something happened, whatever. So for you to give that the harshest penalty you could possibly do, like give, is what you gave. And it's just like, I don't even want to say it's unfair. It's just par for the course now. That's how I feel. That's how I feel going into every game. We always feel like we have decisions go against every club. Every fan feels like decisions go against their club the harshest. But like genuinely, when I watch Arsenal play, I'm just like, I'm always waiting for a decision to go against us in every game. And you just like, all right, whatever. Like, I was hoping Raya saved it because I was just like, whatever.
Do you know, can I say something? I think it's probably kind of generic for pretty much every coach, but do you feel like more than anything with Arteta, he is so hyper aware of everything, but more than any other sort of top manager in this league, he's hyper aware of just how many bad decisions we have going against, kind of thing. Do you reckon that plays into how he actually gets us playing? Because I think it's very clear that while people talk about how we try to control absolutely everything and stuff like that kind of thing, it's almost like, well, we kind of have to, because we're not going to get help where we should be getting help, kind of thing. And it's almost like, I'm not saying an excuse where sometimes some of the performances have been a little bit cautious, whatever else, but it's almost like what are we supposed to do? We could be 2-0 up and the ref decides to fuck us and the momentum goes, kind of thing, and we're 2-1, now we're 2-1 up and now shit is sticky now, you see what I'm saying, kind of thing. And I feel like it's happened so many times under Arteta. Let's go back to the Man City game in 21-22 season, kind of thing, where we've had them on the ropes, kind of thing. We should have had a pen at 1-0, kind of thing, and it just didn't happen for us. You see what I'm saying? Like shit like that is just it's almost part of the scar tissue for him, that it's just built into the way that he coaches us. Like that's what it feels like. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I agree 100%. I think that's one of Arteta's biggest flaws, is that he tries to control too much because I feel like he has PTSD. Like, genuinely, this is a trauma response, because he was just like, you're not going to get help anywhere. I think he went to that press conference and was like, I've never seen a penalty like that given in my entire career. So I'm like, and we never will again. I would put my whole entire like salary like bet DraftKings call me, because I'm telling you, we'll never see a penalty like that given again this season, much less in the next 2 seasons.
Yeah, it's crazy. I saw Marino get punched in the head a couple weeks ago, and that wasn't a penalty, but Lopez is a penalty. For me, here's where I come down on it. I do think it was a foul. I think it's a foul that they don't give very often. I think because I'm an Arsenal fan, once it was given, I was like, well, then it's given. However, I think this is more of an issue for the rules makers more than the refs. Because for me, that's a kind of foul where, okay, you want to call that, but that's not worthy of a penalty. He wasn't even running towards the goal, which is the goal of the game. He's going sideways, away from the box. So if you're going to call a foul there, that for me should be an indirect free kick in the box. That's what that should be. Like, if you
love to see more indirect free kicks. I can't lie.
I feel like chaos. I saw more of those when I was younger, or maybe I'm just making it up. Maybe it's just so memorable.
I saw a lot more as well.
Okay, good. Because I remember for a fact, I know Alan Shearer scored a bunch of them motherfuckers, like where they just passed it back to him and just blasted the net.
Just roofed it, yeah.
Yeah, I just don't see a lot of those, and I think that is a perfect sort of foul, if you will, because what I cannot deny is that Arsenal's player headbutted their player after their player had headed the ball away. Was it accidental? Absolutely. Was it a foul?
But he actually headed the ball. If they looked at the replay, he's actually headed the ball. That's not my only argument there. If they're going to use VAR and shit, and because they reviewed it, if they didn't review it, fair, but they actually reviewed it. If you're going to review it, actually use all the tools to your disposal.
Well, I suppose my retort to that, and I'm not really trying, I'd really rather we didn't get a penalty called against us there, but my retort to that would be, was it a clear and obvious error? Like, he did see, the ref saw a guy headbutt another guy. He thought about it. He said that's a foul. He called the penalty. I can't be too mad at that. You know, if VAR doesn't want to get involved and say, you know what, you got to go look like Saliba touched the ball a little bit. Like, because I don't know, it feels a lot like watching Marino get punched and not having it called. I still wanted that called, and it didn't get called, you know. So I don't like it, but I understand it, and obviously we all have to accept it. We don't have a choice in the matter. It is.
Yeah, I think I know we talk about the Marino one, but didn't we have a pen like that called this season? Was it Gabriel or Saliba?
Yeah, Gabriel did get punched at West Ham. He did get punched, and I think that was a penalty Odegaard converted.
That was the keeper.
Fabianski looking out, man, ex-Arsenal man. Yeah. So sometimes it'll happen. I think again, refereeing in general, it stinks, but I think we almost have to think of it a bit like jazz music. You can hear the thing. You can hear. Hold on now. Let me land, Gabby. You can hear the thing.
Pull out his old geriatric AARP card.
Actually, you know what? Because Gabby has now complained and roasted me, think about it like a live performance of any song, really. If it's not just a machine putting the music out, the same rapper or the same singer or the same jazz musician will not do the song exactly the same way every time. True. So that's kind of how I think we need to view reffing. It's frustrating. It's annoying. I hate it. Some of it seems like malicious. Most of it feels malicious after years of watching Arsenal get screwed. But we can't do shit about it, but talk about it a little bit. And, you know, that's all it's going to be. No, I don't think there's much to discuss on the penalty. Y'all, Pedro put it one way. Raya went the other way. Can't really, it's an 85% chance of scoring. He scored. Good for him. Now we can talk MLS because the 64th minute, 3 minutes after the goal, because the second the ball went in, Odegaard said that I can't even call it warming up. He just took his shit off and got ready to come on the field. And you could see that the man was dying. Like his face just looked pale and drawn. He looks thin as hell. Like I'm sure between being sick and being a new dad, like there was just nothing in those legs. And that's exactly what we saw. So we're not going to talk too much about Odegaard.
Yeah.
It does beg the question, however. There is a young midfielder who has only really played at left back in the squad. I think just from a pure energy standpoint, Miles Lewis-Skelly was the right substitute there. How do you go on, Gabby?
I don't even think it was just for pure energy or fitness like reasons. I think tactically you have to put Miles Lewis-Skelly in there. You need another person who is a ball carrier and somebody who is press resistant. Miles Lewis-Skelly is both of those things. Like you needed some energy in there, and he's genuinely the perfect person to play, and the only person that you should have put on. I don't even think Odegaard honestly could have played today. Like you could have just left him on the bench and just been like, "Fuck it."
You play him because of the pass against Chelsea. That's why. That's essentially why you play him for those sorts of moments, because he was dog shit that game as well, and he pulled that out. And I feel like that's what Arteta was kind of banking on for that one moment.
This nigga's sick too, man. Fuck out of here, man. Fucking coach the guard. But yeah, as coach goes to go sort himself out, bless you. We will say it was very obvious that he just didn't have his legs, Gabby. So for me, it's hard to call it an error because this is a guy that, despite our criticism of him, he's a captain for a reason. He stepped up for us in many, many moments up to this point. And even the fact that he was willing to come on, for me, is another occasion of him stepping up for the team. But I think this was a situation where the manager should have been a little braver and gone with something completely unexpected. Because I think for me, like just seeing Odegaard on the bench before he even got up, I was like, that motherfucker can't play. He's not playing. Like if Odegaard is on the bench and it's not like a Carling Cup game, he's not fit. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Like Saka, like Saliba, like Gabriel, like Raya, he's part of the spine. He's part of the core of the team.
Yeah, you get no rest.
Let's talk about a different midfielder. Coach, since you missed out on your MLS chatter. Declan Rice. I thought low-key, even though this was not a great performance by the team, I feel as if he wasn't on the field today, we lose this game.
Oh, yeah. That's £100 million, baby. That's the quality. That's the level kind of thing.
Wow.
I don't think
Declan Rice. Why are you calling me baby? What are you calling me?
Pause. That's the put it like this. I don't think Declan Rice has had 2 weeks of solid fitness this entire season. Whether it's physical or like viral, or whatever else, I don't feel like he's actually had a run where he's just been fit for 2-3 weeks in a row. He just hasn't. And he was, like I said, he was gassed at 60 minutes. He was completely and utterly gassed at 60 minutes. And I'm really hoping that more than anything, we talk about losing Saka and whatever else, but imagine Rice goes down. Like, guys, like seriously.
Not going. I got forbid.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah. I know Tuchel was in the stands, like, can't wait to play him into the ground.
Yeah, so I'm just thinking, personally, for me, like, God, please cover these players, cover Declan Rice, because I genuinely cannot like imagine today's game, considering all of the injuries and the people talking about transfer business, like, oh, we didn't need Marino, we didn't need Calafiori, we don't sign those 2 players. What are we lining up with today, guys? Really, like,
Gideor, Kabia. Butler, Yedeji.
I'm saying, like,
just
what
mad syllables, nigga. Just syllables. That ain't gonna do shit.
I did score like a hat trick with Butler the other day on FIFA, so put him in there. Put him in there.
Oh man!
Wow, you're better.
I know you were this nerdy. You would not be on this pod, Gabby. Yeah. Like, because this nigga already too much of a goddamn nerd. You know what? Mitch will be back next week. Don't worry about it.
But yeah, I just think there's a level that Declan Rice will always kind of give you, kind of thing. There's a couple of times where he ran with the ball into the final third, and you kind of see why he is, a number 6 basically.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't have it in. He doesn't have it in the final third like that, especially under pressure. Which again, there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. But outside of that, it was fine. I do wish a couple of switches of play were weighted a bit better. But But apart from that, yeah, he was just defensively. He was again just fantastic.
Yeah, I thought he really stood up to because Carlos Baleba for Brighton was fantastic as well on their end, and I feel like he would have looked way more dominant in this game without Declan Rice.
Oh, 100%.
Like he would have done us like he did City. He carried motherfuckers like Bernardo Silva like a little puppy and shit. But thankfully that didn't happen. What was I gonna say? There was one more Brighton chance. We kind of talked about that when they got in behind Calafiori, and I think on the basis of that chance alone, I heard, let's call them commentators on the TV stations we watch, claim that Brighton somehow deserved this result. Like literally,
Lee Dixon, when I catch your ass.
Like they basically scored a goal from a penalty that almost never gets awarded, and they created one more. Okay, there was a chance for a dinger in the first half.
Yeah,
where he skewed it wide, where he took the shot and it went for a throw-in, I think, or some shit like that.
Yeah,
and there was the goal. Then there was a cross that no one converted.
From Minty driving into space.
Yeah, into that space. And I would say there's no need to list all the chances we didn't score from them, but I would say Arsenal at least matched them between set pieces and open play, even if we weren't at our best. But that was pretty much it for the game, guys. I don't think there's a whole lot else to discuss. As Gabby suggested earlier, it would have been nice to see MLS instead of Odegaard, I think. But we can't blame the manager for trusting his lieutenant that has come through for him time after time after time. So the next game is in the Carabao Cup semifinals against Newcastle. Karabuki, there we go. Cup, Newcastle are in fantastic form, but I'm still going to back Arsenal to beat them at home.
Yeah, I think you have to remember as well, despite us having injuries, I feel like so do Newcastle, and they've got 2 massive suspensions as well. I think we're gonna have
Char and
Gooners.
Well, they have Botman back, and I'm not really feeling like they're missing out on a lot there personally. I know Guimaraes was their guy and all that, but they got some depth, at least in that area of the pitch.
So yeah, it'll probably be Tonali, Longstaff if he's fit. I think Longstaff and Joe Linton. But look, where they came. I think Anthony Gordon had a really bad injury to his face today as well.
Yeah, he collided with Kulusevski in the box.
Yeah.
Somebody said that he broke his nose. All I know is his nose was gushing. I hope he didn't break it because it looked bad.
Well,
yeah.
I wasn't watching the game when it happened, but when I turned the game on, he was still playing. So
yeah.
Okay, at the bare minimum, he's a tough kid, so we'll give him that.
Yeah, for sure. But I think look, there's a potential trophy there to be won. There's a game to be won on Tuesday. I'm backing us on Tuesday to react, kind of thing. Like, we've actually, in the cup competitions this year, Champions League as well, it's actually been a nice sort of break for us from whatever fuckery's been happening in the league, and I feel like we've kind of turned it up a little bit. So I'm hoping for more of the same, and I back us at home to get a good result. I'm, after today, I'm not particularly hopeful of a big result. I would love one, but yeah, I just think looking ahead to I think Tottenham's our next league game, innit? So looking ahead to Tottenham, they're in shit form. We need to actually start putting wins together, kind of thing. Let's just heap the misery on them. I trust Arteta to really get us ready for them, kind of thing. But let's heap the misery on them. Just a nice win over them, and maybe that can, I suppose, push us to a really strong finish for the second half of the season. But I'm not. I'm really just so downcast on the towel right now. It's actually just
Gabby, I suspect you don't feel you feel pretty similarly to Coach on this one. Where are you on the title race?
Oh my God! You could just take the race part out because there's no race.
Yeah.
The thing is, a couple of weeks ago, actually, I said that I think Liverpool might have. I don't know if I said it on the pod, but I think Liverpool might have this wrapped up by February. They just are out of sight. I don't know when their games in hand are going to be played, but once they get those done.
So United tomorrow might get postponed because of the weather, which isn't a bad thing,
I wouldn't mind that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I would like for Liverpool to end up with some fixture congestion, and maybe that's where we catch up to them, because they already have the Everton game, the last Merseyside derby at Goodison Park that should have happened.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen, which gave them a break when we would have liked a break. So everything's just broken for them. I'm gonna sound like a whiny hater on this, and I'm gonna be that, but everything's broken really nicely for Liverpool this season. And I would love for us to have half the luck they've had so far. We keep waiting for that stumble to come from them, but shit, man, we can't get our shit together either. So there's really no point in waiting on a stumble from a different team if every fucking player in your team is injured, and every ref is going to invent a new rule against your team. It's just what it is.
That's how I felt all season, though. I just feel like my advice to the Arsenal fans: don't watch Liverpool games. Don't watch them. Don't comment on them. No, I don't even care what happens in them. Whether I'm expecting them to win the rest of the games, even if they don't, it doesn't matter because I need us to win our games. That's the only thing I care about.
I enjoy watching football, so I kind of have to watch Liverpool, unfortunately.
But I will say, back to the Newcastle game, I think that's a 2-leg. We need to finish that at the Emirates. I'm sorry. I know, it's we have injuries and people are out with sickness. They need to finish it. They need to finish it at the Emirates because going to St. James Park and needing a result.
Well, put it this way. I think we need I trust this team to not concede 2 goals in a game. So if we get a 2-goal lead to take the St. James's, I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I think a lot of games against teams like now Brighton and Newcastle, and I hate to say this out loud, but a lot of it depends on the quality of the ref in that. Does the ref manage the game well, or does the ref let it get niggly? Does the ref let the ball stay out of bounds for long periods of time? But the fascinating thing is that there's such a strong narrative surrounding Arsenal's performances this season that we are the guilty party in this stuff. I read, a lot of live chats during games or whatnot, and a lot of opposing fans tend to think that we're that dark art shit has really stuck to Arsenal. Between the set pieces and how long we take to throw the ball in sometimes, everyone just assumes that we're the time wasting kings and all that stuff. So maybe we don't have a leg to stand on according to other people, but this pod is for Arsenal fans. So I'd like to conclude with fuck all y'all. Anything else with people before we get out of here?
No.
All right, folks, keep your chins up. There's still 4 trophies to play for. Even if it doesn't feel like that, there's still 4 to play for. So Keep your chins
actually,
up.
one more thing. Actually, just so the run itself, guys, we've actually been on a decentish run. It feels terrible because we started that run when we essentially were like 8 points behind Liverpool. That's why it feels terrible. Like genuinely, it's really hard to contextualize just how well we're doing in general because of how well Liverpool are doing, and that's what I feel like is just that's what's really shit amongst anything. Like we faced a lot of challenges this season, and we're like on a really good unbeaten run. You know, not that Fugazi 22 unbeaten under Emery. Like this is actually underpinned by some good stuff. So yeah,
it's tough because again, in almost any other circumstances, even now, I think the team deserves credit for what they've been able to produce given the conditions. It's been 10 games unbeaten in the league, 6 wins, 4 draws. Draws are very costly.
The police are coming for you for what you're saying.
Oh man! All right, Gabby, you're a hater. In any event, it's been great. Gosh, I'm depressed. I can't even get us out of here. Anyway, thanks for listening, folks. We really appreciate you. You know the usual: like, share, subscribe, and leave comments and all that stuff. We would love to get your takes on how we should feel about the rest of the season. Like, should we start tapping out? Should we focus on the Champions League? Will that mythical signing in the transfer window save us? Or
it's gonna have to. Like we're going to have to make a signing.
We must. We must. Yeah. We could not get through this without one.
You both get one name, then we hit that piece. Who are you bringing in, Gabby? One name.
My moose.
Well, he's going to City, so you need to get over that, Coach. And don't say Isak, because you know that's not happening. Not even in the summer.
Cunha.
Yeah, okay. He's settled. He gave up on everything.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind Cunha, but I'd prefer Semenyo. But we can talk about that on the next pod. Thanks for hanging out with us. You know, it's tell the people.
Peace.
Hey, folks, this is Dean from the Shirtless Plantain Show. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and follow us on all our socials. You can see them right beneath our recordings in every video. Thanks again, and see you on the next one.